more. I can always do more.
Oh,
Okay, we've got Serenity coming in. Oh, I miss it when she's not here in person. Yeah.
Set up next week.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I come from the Missouri side. I come from the southeast and it's about a 35-minute drive. And this morning I leave early. Well, I get punished for leaving early. I think great. And then I map it. So I want to know what is the fastest route because I have at least 4, if not 5 different ways I can come here in the morning or going home. So I'm mapping it and I'm like, it says to me that 4:35 is going to be the route. I'm like, no, usually it's backed up except on Fridays. But then it cuts off 2 more minutes off of my time. I'm like, okay, then it must be great. And I go to the Grandview Triangle. And it's like, stop. Are you kidding me? I could have gone 71 and oh my God, it made me crazy. So that was wrong. That was really wrong. That was mean. And I'm sitting there and there was not an accident in our lane. It was on the other side. Now it was a small FedEx truck that had caught on fire. So everybody stopped to look at it. I'm like, that is wrong. And you are making me crazy. Oh, people. Driving in the morning is like a game for me. It's like, what's the fastest route? How can I get here? Ah, I see faces on. If you can be on camera, you know it's my preference. So that is my request. Cameras on, if at all possible. I know not everybody can have their camera on. So let me share screen. Well, let me get instructor slides up. Let me share screen so we can get going because we never have as much time as I want on Tuesdays because they start creeping in to get ready for the business meeting, which is important. They have to. So, right, David is coming in. Okay. All right. Love seeing everybody. Okay, we'll go down to just smaller screen here. I'll leave it up so we can have talking. I'll do slideshow. Okay, and you know what we have to do. Do the routine. Check in, check in, check in. Pretty please. You guys are fabulous about doing this. I so appreciate it. We as coaches look at this and see who is coming and participating in the training because this program launches a participatory program. Doesn't work if you don't participate, and training's on you. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to close this door back here. Okay. Can everybody on Zoom hear me all right? Let me know.
I am
Yes.
all good, thank you.
Thank you, Olgie. Good morning. Got some more people in the room waiting. Connor's there, Debbie's there. Woohoo! Look at us. Hey, I'm really proud of everybody day after a 3-day weekend. I was just saying here to the people in person that usually we don't have that much participation. So kudos for everybody checking in. Okay, we're all checked in, Oh, I'll wait for Connor and Debbie because they just came on board. You two check in as quick as possible so that we can get going and make the most of our time this morning. It's 9:01 and we're going to get cooking. We are. Okay, we're going to talk about farming. Good morning, Laura. Farming. We're going to talk all about farming. There is so much material. If you read the student manual, there's a lot of pages to this material, to this topic. So we're going to spend a lot of time on farming. We're going to talk about the myths of farming today and what is farming. And then the rest of the week on Thursday, we'll be talking about selecting your farm, working your farm, and then putting it all together. But let's talk right now, let's talk homework. On Thursday, I gave you homework. So pull out your homework, tell me how many allied resources did you come up with, and how many advocates did you come up with? That would have been on page 39 and 40 for allied resources. Oh, and this is my typo here. Woo, woo. My typo is this right here. It's page 42 and 43, not 4,342. Sorry about my typo. Okay, anybody want to share? How many allied resources did you have? Okay, well, how many did you have? Jody?
I just had 2 for title company, 2 for local officers, a couple for attorneys. I'm assuming I'm doing this correctly, is that right?
Yeah.
1 for an accountant and 1 for a bill.
Okay, that's a great start. Yeah, so it is a start. We do this so that you are, it is to jog your memory. It's to jog your memory and to get you thinking about, who am I forgetting? Who am I missing? So anybody else on how many people did you get for allied resources? Well, property inspectors. Okay, you didn't have any of those. Okay, you just need to go on our portal and look at our service partner list. And you need to reach out and introduce yourself to some of our service partners because we have quite a few property inspectors on that list. And you need to be doing it anyway, because remember what I said, you need to start establishing relationships before you have a client. Please don't wait. You're just adding stress and anxiety to your plate that is not necessary. So don't self-induce that. Builders, if you don't know any builders, go to some new construction and at least introduce yourself to the agents on site and get to know those people. Right? Because you never know when you're going to have a client who says to you, hey, I want to build a home. I don't want to buy resale. And you're going to go, oh. Now, here's another thing I will recommend. KCRAR has a new construction class. CE hours can be obtained for it. And it's a really good class. Because new construction is not like resale. The contracts are different. The sale contract is different. The builder developer might have their own, or they may use KCRAR's new construction contract. And if you've never looked at it, it's so different. So it behooves you, remember, don't wait and say, I don't need to know that yet. Yes, you do, because you don't know if tomorrow you're going to get a client who's going to say, I want to build a house. And then you don't know any builders. You don't even know who the main builders are in Kansas City. It would be worth your while to figure out who are the top builders in Kansas City. The Kansas City Home Builders Association is located at 435 and Holmes. You can reach out to them and get a list of, or go on their website. That would even be better. Go on their website. And when is the fall? Do they do a fall parade of homes anymore or just the spring?
In August.
Oh, in August. They do it earlier now. Yeah. But when the parade of homes comes on in the spring and in the fall, you should be going on those tours, looking at that new construction. You got to build that knowledge. Okay, Zoomers, tell me how many allied resources you had. Did we do our homework? Just asking for a friend. Okay. This course really works well when you do the homework because it is about building business. These aren't like busy tasks. These are business tasks. I'm not just giving you busy work. What about your list of advocates? How many advocates did you have? And who is an advocate?
Yeah, so that was my,
Well, read the material.
No.
And your advocate, Thomas, your advocate, or who are your natural cheerleaders of you
Oh,
and this business? That's okay. That's okay. A-okay. Your advocates are those cheerleaders of yours. I don't know if you all checked out Olgie's announcement post. I'm gonna give her a shout out. Olgie had an amazing response to her announcement post. It sounded, what I liked, Olgie, is it sounded like you.
Thank you.
No, it did. It sounded authentic to Olgie. And she got a fabulous response from that. And now she's doing all the follow-up from all the response that she got. And how many advocates do you think you have?
I mean, I'm very blessed, so I think quite a few.
I would say you do too. I would say you could probably have, who are your really key advocates, your super advocates, your super cheerleaders? Think about those. Those are the people that you will pour in the most. Remember, you've got people in your corner. You do. You have people that believe in you. You have people that are supporting you, even if they don't know what it means to be a real estate agent, they're just for you. And they always have been. And then, like I said on Thursday, there'll be some people that will actually surprise you that you never knew were cheering you on. And they will show themselves and be cheering you on and maybe giving you referrals. Hi, Jocelyn. How are you? Okay. All right. Let's move on because we've got a lot to do with farming. Okay. Has anybody tried to farm yet?
Yes.
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 Yes. Laura, what have you been doing?
So I just moved into our neighborhood, and so I introduced myself as a flyer. Letting them know that I'm a realtor, and then I did a back to school teaching supply drive, where I did another flyer and solicited teacher supplies, and then they could sign them. And then we did our community giveaway. Yeah, so. And then
You know what I love about, you know what I love about that, Laura, is it ties to your past too.
Yeah,
What you did.
I should say I had help with our marketing on the team.
So I love that it speaks to her past of being a former teacher, that she was doing an activity that I think that's a nice bridge. It keeps you, that people, oh yeah, Laura was a teacher and, oh yeah, she's got this new role, but she's still supporting schools and kids and neighborhoods and other teachers. I think that's really cool. Anybody on Zoom, have you done any farming?
Yes, I have done farming and I think it convinced me I want to move out of my neighborhood, but I might sell my own house. No, I'm kidding. I did try it. But after talking to Megan and whatnot, I was like, I should really, for me, utilize everybody I already have from North Carolina and try to do like agent to agent referrals. So I just transitioned that. But when I did do it, I called AB May. They printed out some flyers for me and I door knocked a couple different times.
Okay. Yeah, here's the thing I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, farming is a commitment. It is not a one-dater. You're committing to building something in a neighborhood. Or we're gonna get into more than just neighborhoods, just more than geographic farming. There's other kinds of farming to do that you need to be aware of. Okay. Thanks for sharing. Well, let's get into what the heck is farming. Okay, here we are. We're building this big building, this big towering building of Legion. And the power of prospecting to a marketed target. If you look on page 6, There's a story there. Anybody want to read that story? Anybody want to read that story out loud? How about some Zoomers? Anybody want to read the story out loud?
You want me to read it?
Yes, please. Thank you, Angel.
18,000, sorry. Yeah, $18,000 for 45 minutes of door knocking. That's what Joshua Stern made in Salt Lake City, Utah. Joshua, who closed 25 transactions in his first year and now closes more than 80 transactions a year, had an out-of-state customer contact him looking for a home to buy in a very desirable neighborhood. This customer wanted to move to Salt Lake City to be close to her daughter who would be starting school at the local university. Joshua and another colleague from his office, Boyd Brown, decided to go to the neighborhood and knock on a few doors. When homeowners opened their doors, Joshua explained he had a family that was hoping to move into this neighborhood. He believed this family would be an asset to their community, and did they know someone who was thinking of moving? Joshua also left a note with this same information at the home when no one answered. That night, Joshua received a call from a homeowner who was thinking of selling his home. Joshua ended up with both sides of the transaction with a total of 18,000 in commission. Not bad for just 45 minutes of work.
Wow. So that was purposeful farming that he did with a buyer need. And buyer needs can be very powerful. Very powerful. Matter of fact, that's what got my husband into door knocking and farming in a big way. When because the first couple of times he tried door knocking, he was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? I don't like this. I'm never doing this again. Then he had a buyer need because somebody wanted to live close to their kids. It was grandparents moving to Kansas City, wanted to be in the same neighborhood as their grandkids and kid-in-law. And he started knocking on doors, and he probably knocked on less than 10 doors and found him a house. 10 doors and found him a house. 10 doors and found him a house. Not too shabby, as my dad would say. Right? Not too shabby.
You think you really had a buyer? You really had a buyer?
Yeah, he really had a buyer. Do not go if it's not real, because that's what gives us a bad name, right? You've got to have somebody that you can, now you can't get too personal in describing them, but you have to have a scenario that sounds real. Do not go knock and say, oh, I got a buyer, and you don't. Now, it could be a buyer need for another agent in this office, if you know what they need, and why would you do that? Why would you do that? What might happen if you door knock and find a house?
You would get the listing.
Bingo, you would get the listing. There's a good opportunity for you to get that listing. Wow. Okay. So thank you for reading that. Any other takeaways from that little story, Salt Lake City? Yeah, 45 minutes, 18,000, just saying.
So I've got a buyer, but I'm just thinking how I would do this. I've got a buyer that's living in an area. I just pick out that area and go.
You know what I do? No, here's what I do. If I have a buyer who wants to live in a certain area, I tell them to go drive around the neighborhood, narrow it down to a subdivision or two, and write down the addresses of the homes at least that are on the outside that they really like. We have no idea what's in the inside, but it's really powerful to say to us, a homeowner, I know this is a crazy question to ask, but have you thought of selling your home? Because my buyer really wants to live in your neighborhood. And I told them to drive around and write down addresses of the homes that they really thought they could see themselves living in, at least from the outside, and yours was one of them. Isn't that crazy? And people are like, whoa. It is very powerful. So, and here's the thing, if MLS isn't bringing you the house for your buyers, then that's what you should be doing. We shouldn't just wait on MLS. I'm sorry, but that's the lazy agent way. It is. Because think about it, it's driving me crazy when I see, coaching clients like in growth, and they'll say, oh, I've got 5 active buyers. We just can't find them at house. I said, what else are you doing? Well, we're on a search on MLS. I said, what else are you doing? Because that's not enough. We have the ability to go find him a house. My husband did that for my daughter and her husband. The kids were getting beat out on offers left and right. And I remember my daughter saying, she's a little dramatic, we'll never get a house. We're never getting a house because you won't let us waive inspections. And I said, you're darn right. I'm not letting you waive inspection. We'll never get a house. Like I said, I'll go find my house. And he did. He sent out a mailer. Took a couple of weeks before we heard back from anybody. And there was a family wanted to move back home to St. Louis. The kids walked in with $7,000 worth of equity because the house appraised higher than what they were buying it for. Sweet. And they were not competing against other offers. And they got to do inspections. What?
What have you been to? I feel like I've seen stuff where you can like research or give you data on like how long people are.
Just look at how long have they, look how long they lived in the house.
Yeah.
That's a good indicator. When you're farming, it's something we'll talk about. But I always like to start in farming. I like to do a micro targeting within a farm. Meaning I go to people who've lived 10 to 12 years in a house because we know that is historically, that is the turnover about people live on average 10 to 12 years in a home. So I'm going to target them first, and then I'm going to target people who were past expired or canceled, and they never sold since they were that. So something happened that they took it off the market, but at one point they did want to sell. That's my micro target. Okay. What is farming? Well, we've been talking about it a little bit. Farming equals a market segment equals a narrow market equals a niche. Where do they live? Who are they? And what do they like? So where do they live? That's the demographic, right? That's demographic or geographic farming. Where do they live? It says pick a narrow market and dominate it. Here's another beautiful thing about marketing. Have you thought about this? We start talking as experienced agents. What's your average sales price? At the end of each year, you should be looking as an agent. What's your average sales price? Of all the homes you sold, what's your average sales price? And as you start doing your goal setting for the next year, you should say, okay, 275, I want it to be higher. Well, guess what? You have power and the ability to increase your average sales price by marketing a neighborhood that is higher priced. We can't tell these people, our friends and family, we can't tell them where to live, right? They already live where they live. We can tell them great neighborhoods and everything and nice houses and stuff, but they're already where they are, right? Or where they want to live. So if you want to increase your average sales price, one of the best ways to do that is farming. Who are they? Well, what generation owns the most houses right now with no mortgage? What generation? Boomers.
Boomers.
Boomers. Well, downsizing can be a perfect way to do a demographic farming. So some of our agents, actually, NAR, our National Association, has a certification of working with seniors. And we've had some of our agents, the one I know of that most recently got her certification is Cindy Humphrey. And she went through the classes are online, and she got her certification. You've got to do she had to go visit nursing homes. She had to, yeah, they make you do stuff to earn this certification, but that's what she wants. That's her demographic farming. Because I want you to think bigger than just geographic. And then what do they like? What do they like? That's where we talk about, should be on the next slide. Yeah, psychographic farming. Nobody ever says that. So throw that around to an experienced agent. Yeah, I'm doing some psychographic farming. How about you? Interests, hobbies, lifestyle. Perfect example. I've shared it before, but last year at either Mega Camp or family reunion, I can't remember which, there was a woman on a panel who did psychographic farming. She didn't say that on stage, but her farming was the dog park. And she had originally started going, a couple of times a week. And then she started going twice a day. And she built her business, a good portion of her business, on farming the dog park. It's her passion. Other people are passionate about their pets, are they not? Oh my goodness. If you just look at how much we as consumers spend on our pets. Woo. Yeah. So the demographic farming, it's age, it's gender, first-time home buyers, that's a demographic farming. So if you want to appeal to first-time home buyers, then you've got to know that there are different down payment assistance programs. You've got to know what's important to them. You've got to be really good at explaining the process. You need to be doing first-time home buyer seminars. I do a home buying seminar once a year. I can help you with those. Seminars are one of the best ways to show value. And then, of course, the geographic farming is a country, a state, a metro area, a subdivision, a neighborhood, or a street. Did you know there was this many kinds of farming? Is this new to you guys? How about you all on Zoom? You don't get to be that quiet.
I'm surprised.
Thank you, Alden.
You're welcome.
Well, think about what you're passionate about. What do you love to do? If sports is something that you love, what sport? Anybody do fantasy football? I'm hearing people talk about it. I'm not one of them. Nobody in here does fantasy football? Anybody online do fantasy football? My daughter's doing fantasy football. Like, who are you?
Kristen?
Yes.
It's Angel. I had an interesting situation once. And I know it sounds kind of funny, but a good farming is, has anybody ever been to Lowe's or Home Depot?
Yes.
And you walk the section where people have for sale by owners.
Signs.
And if you see them grabbing one, great opportunity to talk to them.
Definitely. Or just people doing home projects. You just never know why they're doing a home project. Yeah.
I've been trying to do a little bit, I guess, of psychographic farming myself because I have been going to the gym quite a bit more often. And I was trying to think, wow, I don't want to give up the gym, but I do want to work, spend more time doing real estate activities. How can I integrate both without giving up the gym? Because that's an important part of my day. So I've been trying to take classes and get to know the people in my classes a little bit better. So that's just been something that I have been trying to integrate and something I didn't want to give up for timing purposes. So kind of tying it in. So I'm trying to kind of get to know the people in my gym classes.
I love that. No, you shouldn't give up what you love. Because it gets you around other people who love it too. And then you all automatically have something that connects you. Does that make sense? I don't want you giving up things you love. Anything that gets you in front of additional people is a win in my world. So think about you. Okay, Jody, psychographic farming. Investments. You're already an investor. That's something you want to focus on. Those are your people. You need a network like Serena networks to get around other people interested in either becoming investors or are on that journey. If that's what you have the passion for, that's where you need to be. So figure out what it is that you're passionate about and put yourself there and get to know people. You know, one of the things I really appreciate about real estate was it made me get in touch with people that I hadn't talked with forever. Because I just have excuses that life was busy and I think about them. How many people do you think about and haven't talked to in ages? But you're like, oh, I haven't talked to so-and-so in so long. Boy, I should do that. Real estate forced me to do that.
Didn't mean to upset you.
And I'm so glad that it did. So that to me is one of the benefits. Okay, which type of farm? What do you want to do? Think about it. What appeals to you? When we talked about these, what appealed to you? Of these types, what appealed to you, Thomas? Psychographic, yeah, it doesn't roll off the
I was trying to think.
it's okay, it doesn't roll off the tongue. Yeah. If you're very involved in your church or your faith, you know, if you're authentic and you build relationships, this isn't you hustling and being a salesperson. Do you get that? It's not. It's you just looking for who can I help? And that's what you have to keep in your mind. Who can I help? Because I think too many times we get in our head, oh gosh, they're going to think I'm that salesy person. No, you're just looking to help people. You've got to understand how you can help them and be able to articulate that. Jeff, what appeals to you?
Well, I like church, tennis, first time home buyers, and I like the assisted living. I like those a lot.
It's awesome. That's awesome. I would encourage to narrow it down and build on those areas, but I would narrow it down to 1 or 2 for now, and then you can keep continuing building.
So that was it NAR you said certification?
There's a NAR certification. It's Certified Senior Assistance, I think. You can go on the NAR website and go under certifications. I believe it's a tab. Certifications, and you can be there's a home buying representation. Here comes old game person. Okay, Zoomers, what appealed to who? What different kind of farming? Serenity, if you can talk. Can you?
Yeah, I can talk. I think obviously my church people, and then also like teaching a financial literacy class.
Yes.
I think, I don't know, my husband's like,
No.
don't add more to your plate, but I'm like, I love it. So I don't know if I'm getting a lot of tractions on Thursdays with open houses. So I'm like, I can just transition because that allotment of time is already there. It would just be for the financial class instead.
So Serenity is passionate about the financial awareness class. Is it financial peace?
Yes.
Okay, with Dave Ramsey's class, Financial Peace, she's certified to teach it. She's passionate about it. it is a wonderful vehicle, Serenity, for you to grow your network and to build relationships. Because then you're attracting people who have the same interest or desiring to know that, right?
For sure. Yeah, I have a meeting set up today, so I'm excited. I was like, I'm just gonna do it.
Do it. I say do it. I think it's a perfect match for her, right? So let's think about what is that perfect match for you? Who else? Who else? What kind of farming appeals to you? On Zoom, who else?
I like the idea of finding individuals. Oh, sorry. I'll let them go in class.
No, go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
I like the idea of finding the individuals that, because I know Megan mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but the idea of doing a Chiefs schedule and putting your, information on there and then going around. There's tons of people, of course, here in Raytown that, since we live so close to the stadiums, love the
Yeah.
Chiefs. So I've been going around and I've got my Chiefs schedules. And I've just been giving them to everyone knocking on doors that have their Chiefs flags out. Because then that way they put their calendar on their fridge, and at least for the whole season, I'm on their fridge.
So
With
what
my
would it
smiling
look
face.
like? What would it look? And this is in your neighborhood, what, right, Ryan?
Yep.
So
Yep,
what
yep.
would it look like, Ryan, if maybe you did a driveway party for an out of town game for your neighborhood, or at least for your
Right.
street?
And then I like that
Grill out
big
hot
22
dogs,
foot blow
hamburgers.
up screen, and I can have the projector outside instead of just doing it for Halloween like we do. I could do it for the Chiefs game.
Yeah, what?
See, the gears are turning.
I love it. I love it. Think about how you can have fun with this. And you can just, like I said, for the beginning, just invite your street and then start to build up to that. Don't think you have to do a whole big subdivision all at one time. So, okay, thanks for sharing. Laura, you had one. What appeals to you?
Occupation.
Occupation?
I've been a teacher, like how can I?
Teacher. Two things. One, farming that teacher community and understanding, are there any special loans or programs for teachers? Because that could be really powerful, and you educating them about that. Also, I would also talk to some of your teacher friends who are very social about, and this is another way of farming, that is, would they think about getting their license and putting it in referral to make a little extra money? Because if they're passionate about teaching, they may never give up teaching, but dang, they probably would like to make a little extra money. One of my very good friends, she had to work retail. Well, she also liked to close. But she worked retail the whole time, practically she was a teacher, so that she could have extra money. And what would it look like? Then that's a referral source for you, most likely. My husband did that with pastors. He got some pastors licensed with a referral license, and they would give him referrals. Beautiful. It's a win for everybody. Okay, let's keep going. Myths about farming. Yep, we're going to spend time on the myths. Farming takes too long, costs too much. Well, the truth is farming can become the core of your business. It doesn't have to cost a lot. It can. You do mailers every month, and that can be expensive. And we'll get into this later, but I'm going to tell you right now, just so that you kind of have if you're going to do geographic farming in a subdivision, you have to have a minimum of 200 houses that you're farming. Minimum. Why is that? Why do you think that is? The turnover rate. Yep, exactly. Laura said not everybody's going to be ready to buy or sell. No. So you have to have enough houses in there that, and right now, remember, what is it historically? What's the turnover rate historically? That's now.
10 to 12.
10 to 12. 10 to 12% turnover rate is historic. Last year it was 4%. This year, I think it's gonna be 4 or 5%. So if you look at that, then you definitely have to have enough. Does it take too long? Yeah, you gotta put time in it. If you don't have the money, then you gotta put the time. And here's the thing, if you do, Serenity, I heard what you said about your neighborhood. So here's the thing I would recommend. If you don't own a house or you don't want to farm your neighborhood, there are different reasons. Some agents don't want to farm their neighborhood because they don't want all their neighbors harassing them, right? Coming to them for real estate needs. I mean, you can feel like that you lose a little privacy if you're trying to be the agent. You can't be out there yelling at your dog. You can't be, you know? Right? So some people choose not to farm their neighborhood. If you don't farm your neighborhood, here's the best advice I ever heard, and it was at family reunion at a class I took on farming, was farm a neighborhood you would love to live in. So that every time you go there, you're picking out your house. Because you're excited about that neighborhood. Does that make sense? Pick a neighborhood where someday you say you're gonna live there. Yeah, put some smiles on some faces. Well, and then farming that big of an area is not. So that's why you're gonna do the psychographic farming. Will make better sense for you, Jody. Because I live in the country too, but mine are 3-acre lots. So I could farm mine. So just remember, you have to have a minimum of 200 houses for this to make sense. If you're doing geographic, then I would say the same for any of the other kinds. You want to build up at least 200 in that farming database. So you would want to build up to 200 that are interested in investing or are investors, that type of thing. Teachers, you want to build up to a database of 200 at least teachers. Make sense? Make sense? Same with if it's your church, faith-based, or an organization, a nonprofit or something. Myth number 2, somebody else already dominates that neighborhood or that demographic.
Not true.
You're right. Angel's right. That's not true. Now, one of the things we'll do in Thursday is we'll select your farm. We've got a little worksheet for you to use to figure out if this is the good. And the one thing that's missing there that I always add is you're gonna do research on listing agents in that neighborhood to see if anyone has sold 20% or more of the homes in that neighborhood. That is very rare. Very rare. Usually where I see that is somebody who came on when it was new build and they were the agent on site and they bought in that area, they continued to dominate it for a while. But usually then when resale starts happening, if they don't keep working that neighborhood, it's not a given that they will still dominate that neighborhood. Okay.
If you are in an area where there is a dominant person that's selling the lots or whatever the case may be, is there a way for you to kind of work around that, or if you don't want to step on anyone's toes?
In a new where there's new construction going on also?
So if there's in your area, depending on new construction, how do you make sure that you're not stepping on legal?
Well, you can't, I mean, they have the listings on those lots. I would just build a relationship with those agents so that if I find buyers, then those buyers are mine. And then if I stay with those buyers, as long as they own that house, then they'll resell with me, or they should, if I do my job. Make sense? That's how you would, but you've got resale houses most likely in that area. So then I wouldn't say it's a given. So don't tell me, oh, we've got 3 agents in my neighborhood. You might. But do you think every agent is everyone's cup of tea? No, you're not. I hate to break it to you, you're not.
Not all agents farm their own paper. You maybe don't want.
Yeah,
Just
and just because somebody sold in a neighborhood doesn't mean they farmed it. They might have done circle prospecting, which is a limited farming while you have a listing in a neighborhood. But it doesn't mean they continued farming. So don't think that because, and also do not get upset when your neighbor across the street lists with somebody else. Because their best friend might be an agent. Be gracious, be kind. And that will give you so much further than getting a chip on your shoulder. Now, I do know for some agents, it has been a motivator when they started seeing signs in their neighborhood and they're like, what? I need to talk to my neighbors. I need to build relationships. And some you will get that business, and some they've got another relationship that's stronger than yours. But you won't win the whole thing, but you can have a presence in that neighborhood. And don't, I remember one new agent, it was a little funny, but I was also like, she was upset that another agent was farming her neighborhood. Well, this is my neighborhood. I'm like, you just got your license. You live there, but you do not own. One thing I know about this business, we are not owed business, we earn business. And that is with family, friends, neighbors, former coworkers. You are not owed that business, you earn the business. And the minute you start thinking you're owed the business by your Aunt Sally, you've got the wrong mindset. And you'll probably damage a family relationship over something like that. And don't, that's stupid. That's petty. Well, it is. They may have their reason. They may not want you to know that much about their financials. Respect that. Make them feel guilty as hell. And then they'll give you referrals. Myth number 3, a farm limits you to an area or specialty. A farm does not have to be your only source of business and shouldn't. You know, when you do your business plan, the MREA business plan, because you've read the MREA book, right? You're going to understand that what we want you to do, and the most effective thing we know, is focus on just 3 areas of lead gen, just 3. Now that doesn't mean you might not do some others, but I'm talking 3 that get the majority of your time, attention, and money. And one of those, what does one of those have to be? It's already decided for you.
Your database.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, if it's not on your 135, then we as coaches will say, sorry, but even if you say I only have 25 people on my phone, because your goal is to build that puppy. And if you don't have focus on it now, you won't have focus on it ever. So we want some focus on that. So farming could be one of them, database, and then one other. We don't want you doing 15 different ways of lead gen. Now here in the beginning, you might try some of them, but just know that, have you heard me say that some lead generation is marathon activity and some are sprint? Okay, this is marathon activity. Remember I said you have to commit to this. You have to commit. If you're not going to be committed, this does not work, and you will say, this doesn't work, Kristen. I'm not doing this anymore. That doesn't work. Well, no, it doesn't work if you don't commit.
Oh, it doesn't work after 3 days?
No. No, Thomas, it doesn't work after 3 days. But we live in a society of instant gratification and results. And that's what we want from everything we do. And it doesn't work that way. The sprint activities are things like open houses. You could find a now buyer from an open house. Because people going there usually are wanting to buy a house, right? So that's a more focused activity. When we're farming, we're hoping to come across those people. We don't know that they're interested or not. Make sense?
For people already in our database that we are reaching out to, I did like what you said about it's a good excuse to catch up with people that you may not have reached back out to. I think that perspective helps you instead of like, oh, you know, it's a good way to reach back out to people. If you look at it in that lens, I feel like it's less evasive and you.
Yeah. Remember, I give you full pass to just connect with people. And I want you to continue to do that your whole career. A good portion of what you do should just be connecting and showing you care about people, and then bring your value. But you got to bring the value and not just think, I'm a nice person, they should come to me. You can't. You have to show them why they would want to work with you or what you know. You know, it's all about, can you show them that you know stuff they don't? That you have access to stuff they don't? We need to be a door or a portal for them. Of information, of value, of resources. That's what we're good for. And you have to show them. Don't assume anybody knows that. And let's keep going on our myths, because I know Rebecca's going to be in here. It's all about mailers and mass marketing. It's not. If you just do mass marketing, meaning you just do a mailer once a month, and this is what I did because I never was taught all of this. I was just taught, oh, you just mail something to a neighborhood and you wait until somebody raises their hand and reaches out to you. Well, I did it too. I mailed to 500 people every month for a year. Got one piece of business. I mean, at least I got one piece of business, but I did nothing else. Didn't door knock, nothing. I went for the an expensive lucky factor. So you've got to do more than that. It's synergistic impact of both marketing and prospecting. That's why you got to do more than just the mailer. Mailer can reinforce, but that can't be your only thing. And then myth 5, you can stop and start your farming efforts. How do you think that works? What's my favorite thing to say is 2 words to success in this business.
Persistent.
Yeah, Laura nailed it.
Yep.
Persistence.
Consistency and persistency.
Ryan came right in after you. Yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
Laura.
So on any lead gen activity, you have to ask yourself, if I do this lead gen, can I commit to being consistent and persistent? If not, I shouldn't do it. And then if you narrow that down to all the lead gen, then you're not gonna put food on the table, okay? Make sense? So I know there's a lot of things dangled in front of you that look good of all the lead gen, but you've got to ask yourself, will I commit to doing this consistently and persistently? Otherwise, I have no business doing this. The stop and start does not work. You must pursue your farm consistently and persistently. And I didn't even write that. They did. So those are the myths. What are your takeaways on what we've talked about this morning? Tell me what you took away.
Not just geographic.
It's not just geographic, said Laura. Yeah, I want you thinking bigger. That's why I love this course. This course gets us thinking bigger about all these different kind of lead gen and not the narrow path that so many times that's all agents know. We want you thinking bigger. Who else had an aha? Jocelyn, did you have any ahas? Yeah, there are different kinds of farming. And I want you to throw around that psychographic farming. See what other agents say. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing some psychographic farming and see, they'll probably be looking at you silly or like, what? I don't know what that is. How about Zoomers? I need at least one aha from this morning.
I was just curious, Kristen.
Consistency. Oh,
Oh,
sorry, Ryan.
Debbie. No, Debbie, you go. You go.
Go, Debbie.
Just consistency. Planning something out every quarter and making sure that you are consistent and follow through with it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's gotta be more than every quarter. If you're gonna do farming. But
Well,
yes, that's
more
consistent.
that's more for budget wise, like what you're gonna spend money on, I guess is what I
Okay, yeah.
should clarify.
No, I like that. Yes, 100%. You figure out how you can spend your money. And she's saying quarterly, so yes, right on target. And Ryan, you'll be the last.
I was just curious because you said like I'm mailing out to like 200, and you just said after 500 you only got one piece of business from 500 for your first year. So I was just
Yeah.
curious, after that first year, did you kind of just push farming away and like
Yeah,
went on to
I
like
gave
another
up because
lead?
I gave up because I
Exactly.
didn't know how to do it right. I didn't know
And
how to
like
do
you,
it
you
right.
also were a great door knocker from being in your previous jobs of doing,
I know,
within
but nobody
politics.
said that I had to door. I thought, oh, I don't have to door knock. I just have to mail.
Exactly. So I was just curious within like of the 500 that you were mailing out to, how much did you door knock on those people's houses?
I did zip. If I had
Okay.
done door knocking, oh my God, I would have had, I know,
So if
such
I
a
combine the
better
two,
return.
sweet. Okay.
100%.
There we
Well,
go.
thank you.
That's my
We're
takeaway.
getting ready for the business meeting. So I hope you guys are excited to learn more about farming on Thursday. And let's look at our homework real quick. Oh, you get off easy. You have to finish reading the student materials for Thursday. Okay? That's your homework. That's your homework. All right. Well, tune in, those of you on Zoom, jump off the Zoom and then join us on the closed office Facebook page for the business meeting. See you guys later. Bye.